Hey y'all, Mama Snark here. I'm gonna do a review on Mears Connect and basically my thoughts on them since the recent merger with Sunshine Flyer. I have to say they're not my favorite. So we have used Mears Connect once, like whenever they had Mears Connect as an option and Sunshine Flyer as an option, since Magical Express went away, the free service. So using Mears Connect to get from to and from MCO Airport, which is the Orlando airport, to and from your Disney resort. The reason that I booked Mears Connect the first time that we used them on our first like big family trip since the Magical Express went away was because Mears Connect was the only option that was 24/7. So our flight coming into Orlando didn't land until around midnight, and Sunshine Flyer didn't operate that late. So we went with Mears. The experience was fine. Like, got us from point A to point B. Nothing fancy. They did pick up on time. Wasn't too, long of a drop off with stopping at other resorts and things. So it was just kind of like whatever. Since that time, I have been back to Orlando probably like 4 or 5 times, something like that, to Disney World. Most often with children. And since then, I have booked Sunshine Flyer exclusively. And the main reason for that is that they always just ended up being cheaper. There was always some kind of promotion for them, or like they had their child rides free promotion. So pricing Mears Connect versus the Sunshine Flyer always went out price wise. So that's what I usually ended up going with, just for that reason alone. Sunshine Flyer also, wasn't as magical as Magical Express, but they did play cartoons on the way to the resort, and the big buses were like wrapped up like trains, and the drivers wore like conductors' outfits, and it was just a little bit more exciting for children than Mears Connect was. So on my last trip, it was after the merger when Mears Connect basically bought out Sunshine Flyer. So that was my only option. I'm usually traveling solo with a child, so I need a car seat. I don't want the hassle of bringing a car seat, like lugging their car seat with me through the airport, the plane, off the plane, because I'm usually by myself. So I've already got 2 bags, a child, and a stroller that I'm dealing with. I don't want to add a car seat to that as well, because that, like, it's just too much, especially when I'm by myself. So I usually book, like I said, Sunshine Flyer or Mears Connect because you don't need a car seat with them. It's the big charter buses. Those are rated to be used without car seats. In fact, if you bring a car seat with you, they're going to stow that underneath the motor coach. Like, they're not even going to let you bring it on to use the car seat. You just buckle your kid in with the seatbelt. They're safety rated to be used without car seats. So that is the reason that we book them. I don't want to deal with trying to find an Uber or a Lyft with a car seat because number one, it's going to end up being more expensive. And number two, it's going to be based on availability. So in order to make sure that I get to and from my resort in a timely fashion with my child safely, it's just the way to go for me, especially again, I'm going to go into the price. So there are plenty of outside companies. I've seen great recommendations on different vloggers that I watch and different recommendations on like social media. I've priced them, and the cheapest one comes to about like 140, 150, like coming with car seats installed. Is about 150 or so, and then you're expected to tip probably around $20 on top of that. That's just a little bit out of my price range. When I go to Disney, I'm usually going on the cheap. So I'm trying to stick, as minimally cost wise as I can to make it more efficient. So back to my most recent experience, which was September of 2023. I was with my 5-year-old son, Man Cub, and same as the Sunshine Flyer, like you go, you line up, you get told, like you scan your little QR code, they tell you what lane to get in, wait in the lane, bus driver comes, tells you go this way, you leave your luggage that you're going to put underneath the bus, they put it in there for you. I found that the Sunshine Flyer drivers were always a little bit more like customer service geared than the Mears Connect drivers. Like, I don't want to say they were rude, but they were a little bit more gruff for sure. Like it wasn't a like, oh, have a magical day. I hope you have safe travels, whatever. It was just kind of like, all right, put your stuff here. Where are you going? What hotel are you going to? Okay. So we got onto the bus, went and found our seat. They have the little TVs kind of set up in the aisles. We get going. There's no cartoons. It's a bus full of children going to Disney World. And they're playing like trivia, like it has trivia on the screen, which kids can't read, or at least my kids can't yet. So it's like, when was the first locomotive made and whatever, and then the next screen tells you the answer. Or after that, they had like animal fact clips, which my son was interested in, but he couldn't read them. So, he was like, Mama, what does that mean? And I'd have to tell him, and then I'd have to explain it to him because he's 5. And so it's like, I wish they would do a little bit more, because I'm not going to say all of them, because I go to Disney by myself without my kids sometimes, but like, I would say at least 80% of people going to Disney, especially using Mears Connect, are going with children. Odds are probably small children. So it's like, I wish they would gear a little bit more towards that and do more like cartoons or something a little more like smaller kid friendly. But it is what it is. Another thing that I don't like, and I will say Sunshine Flyer, I only had 2 drivers that actually did it, but most people are going to Disney World for the first time. Like, it's a once in a lifetime trip. Not everyone is as fortunate as me and able to go often, and they've saved up for who knows how long, and this might be the only time they're going. When they're going onto Disney property and you're passing under those magical arches for the first time that say, "Welcome to Walt Disney World," and you've got the Mickey and the Minnie on the side of it, and it's, it's just this magical and amazing thing. They don't announce it. So you just pass under it and have no idea. You never see it. Unless you're someone like me who has gone there several times, and I now kind of know the area, and I can kind of gauge by like when we're turning and where we're going, like, okay, the arches are going to be coming up pretty soon based on like signage and things like that. So a couple of times I've been able to film, thankfully, us entering the arches with my phone, but kind of like leaning out in the aisle and, holding it out. But it's like, I wish they would at least announce like, "Hey guys, welcome to Disney World, woohoo," or like something, just something. But anyway, so not thrilled with it, but also I can't really complain that much for the price either. Like, they get you where you need to be. They get you from point A to point B. Timing wise, obviously it's going to take a little bit more time than an Uber or a Lyft, or if you're taking private transportation like directly to your resort from the airport. Now, I have looked out, I think twice now, where my Mears Connect bus or my Sunshine Flyer bus, my hotel was the first stop or the second stop. So in that case, it only took, I would say, maybe 45 minutes, 50 minutes from the time that we were getting to the bus, like being directed to the bus to put our luggage away and stuff, and getting to the hotel. Lucked out in those instances. There's been other times, a few other times, where like these buses have a ton of people, charter bus. They're going to make multiple stops at resorts. So odds are they're stopping at the deluxe resorts first, because that's just kind of how Disney does it. I'm assuming they have some kind of connection with Disney since they're doing Disney property. So deluxe resorts are going to be the first stops. If you're saying value resort, like I usually do, odds are, unless it's like, I've noticed Art of Animation and Pop Century tend to have a lot more like guest rates. So in that instance, they might stop there first. But usually if you're staying at like one of the all-star resorts, like I do a lot, you're going to be the last one. So I would bank on hour and a half to be safe of your travel time. If you're trying to plan like a reservation or something like that, I would give yourself from the time that you check in to the Mears Express, not the time you get off the plane, because you're going to have to get your luggage and get on the monorail and get over there and get down to the first floor and all that stuff. So from the time that you check into Mears Connect to the time that you get to your resort, I'd bank on about hour and a half to be safe. And that's whatever. That is what it is. Like, I understand I'm taking a charter bus full of people that's going to different places. So like, that's fine. Not my big complaint there. I think my biggest issue is that it's just doesn't really seem to be catered towards children. And it's like, Disney is a place full of magic for my kids. And the transportation, like, it's like, obviously they're not going to be the Magical Express, but it's like, I wish the customer service would be a little bit more like, none of my drivers have been friendly. Like, they haven't been like, oh, hey guys, welcome aboard, here we go, I hope you had a good, ride, whatever. Like, they're just kind of like, all right, drop your bags there, get on there, where you going? I don't know. That kind of bothers me because I work with the public, so I'm in a place of customer service. And whenever I pay for a service that should also provide customer service and they don't, it kind of irks me a little bit. So, yeah, like Sunshine Flyer, I feel like they were a little bit more friendly in that regard. But on to my my last experience with them coming home from my hotel. So we stayed at Pop Century and I had booked a round trip. So they email you a boarding pass about 24 hours before your trip is scheduled. They say, hey, here's your boarding pass. It's like a little QR code. And they tell you what time they're going to pick you up at your resort. And you go to the front of the resort. There's like a little pole that says like bus pickup or like rideshare service pickup, airport shuttle pickup, something like that. So at Pop Century, it's like where the entrance is, where the big double doors are for the entrance, it's like right across from that. There's some little benches there that you sit at and wait for the bus. Mears Connect, Uber, Lyft, whatever. So we go out there at the scheduled time. It said, I think it was going to pick us up at like 7 p.m. or 6 p.m. or something like that. So we go out there and we sit, and then I get a text that say, hey, your Mears Connect driver is on the way. Click here to track them. And I was like, okay, I don't remember ever getting that before, but I've also only taken Sunshine Flyer before most of the time previously. So I was like, okay, cool. So I click, the little link to track my driver, and it said transit van. Okay, that's interesting, because usually it's a big charter bus, which is what I booked. So I was like, we're going to see how this plays out, because I've got a small child with me that needs to be in a car seat. And if it's a regular sized transit van, which I drive those a lot for work, you need a seatbelt and or a car seat. It is a regular sized, it's a little bit bigger than a regular sized vehicle, but like it's a regular vehicle. It's not a charter bus that's rated to not use car seats in. So he pulls up and I was like, hey, he's like, hey, you're blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, that's us. And he goes around and I said, do you have a car seat? Because my son's too little to sit in a regular car. And he goes, well, yeah, I've got one, but there's already a baby in it. And at that point, he like opens the van door, and sure enough, there's one car seat. It's rear facing with a baby. Like I see little baby legs kicking in it. And I'm like, okay, well, obviously I'm not going to take a car seat from a baby, but I was like, so what do we do? Because my kid needs a car seat. And he sees Man Cub sitting in the Bob stroller right in front of me. And he goes, well, how old is he? And I said, he's 5. And he goes, well, I've got kids buckled up in the back seat. Now, my kids, you don't. That's on those parents. So I looked it up when I got back and I'll finish telling you the story in a minute. So I looked it up when I got back because I was curious. So whenever you're booking your tickets, like round trip, one way, whatever it may be through Mears Connect, you do select if there's an infant, age 1 to 2, if there's a child, age 3 to 9, and how many adults. There might be like a senior button too. I can't remember. I'll insert like a link or a screenshot of what this looks like. And then you select like how many bags, if you're going to be in a wheelchair, things like that. So when I selected my tickets, I selected tickets for myself, an adult, and for my child, age 3 to 9, because I think under 2 is free. So, I paid for his ticket. I selected child. There's a vast difference between a 3-year-old child and a 9-year-old child as far as seatbelts. Like a 9-year-old, I don't know yet because we're not there, but maybe a 9-year-old can ride in a regular seat in a regular seatbelt. I'm not sure. We're not there yet age-wise. But a 3-year-old absolutely needs a car seat. So if a transit van pulls up and you've got a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old that you're picking up, you're going to need 2 car seats because neither one of them are old enough to, sit without it. So I looked it up. Apparently it falls under the taxi laws, in which case they are not required to have car seats, and you are not required to put your child in a car seat. that don't fly with me. Like, I'm here to tell you, hubby and I, like, car seat safety is one of our main, like, we are sticklers about it. I want that chest clip where the chest clip goes. It needs to be tight enough to where there's not, too much, it's not too tight, but like there's no like wiggle room. Make sure the shoulder straps are either at shoulder level or up to an inch below, depending on like the setting of it. Like, we are sticklers on car seats. So yeah, apparently they fall under the taxi law, and they are not you're not required to have a car seat for your kid. Didn't know that when I booked it. And also, I've only ever been sent a charter bus, which is rated for use without car seats. So I've never like thought about that. I know I don't travel with my car seat because I don't need it at Disney, and I don't need it for Mears Connect. Well, apparently, maybe we do. So he pulled up and he said that, and I was like, so what are we gonna do? And in my head, I'm scrambling. I'm like, okay, am I gonna miss my flight? Am I gonna have to like book another night at Pop or another Disney hotel and reschedule my flight for tomorrow morning and hope that a charter bus picks us up? Am I gonna have to find an Uber or Lyft with a car seat and hope that there's one available and can get me to the airport before I miss my flight? Thankfully, I did not have any checked luggage. I usually travel with personal items only, so that wasn't a concern of like having to waste time at the airport counter, thankfully. So he did tell me, he was like, I could tell he was annoyed. He kind of like was huffing and puffing. I'm like rolling his eyes. He's like, I've got kids buckled in the back seat. And I'm like, I don't care. And, he was like, well, he's 5, like just buckle him in the back seat. And I was like, sir, according to our pediatrician, he needs to either be A, 8 years old, or B, 80 pounds to not be in a 5-point harness car seat. Because I asked on his 5-year visit, like his well check, I was like, hey, when do we move to the high back booster where you just put the seat belt through it and it's just a high back like booster seat with not the chest clip and things? And my pediatrician said either 8 years old or 80 pounds. That might be different based on what your pediatrician says. I'm not sure. I'm not here to argue that with you. I'm just telling you what my pediatrician said for our child. And she's been doing this for a long time, and I trust her with my kids. So she says wait until they're 80 pounds or 8 years old. That's what we're doing. So I could tell he was annoyed. And after I said that, and I'm not sure if it's because I said that or I had hubby on the phone, like I immediately called my husband. I was like, hey, they're trying to put Man Cub in this transit van without a car seat. And he was like, yeah, no dice. That's not happening. And I was like, I know, that's what I said. I'm waiting on him to figure out what we're going to do. Because I was like, are they going to send another bus for us? Like a charter bus? Or like, what do we do? Because my kid's not getting in that van without a car seat. Like, straight up, it's just not happening. So I can tell that he is annoyed with me. I don't care. So he's radioing on his little radio, I guess to headquarters or whoever's there, and is like, what do we do? She said she needs a car seat and I don't have one available. So I will give Mears credit. They did like rectify the situation. He told me they're sending another transit van with a car seat. It'll be here in about 10 minutes. And I'm like, great. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. So to Mears credit, they did rectify the situation. They weren't just like, well, we're under taxi law, so you don't need a car seat. Either get in or don't get picked up. So thankfully they did not do that. They did rectify the situation. They sent another van, and pretty much like clockwork, it was about 10 minutes behind that. So the new van pulls up. They did not give me a tracking number with this one. So the new van pulls up, because I was on the phone with hubby and I'm like, I hope they send the new van. I hope it wasn't just a... So new van does pull up. It's a woman. She is a lot more friendly than the first driver. I'll say that. I'm not sure if I have her name or not. If I do, I'll link it or put a screenshot. But she was a lot more friendly, a lot more helpful. So she comes out and she's like, hey, I heard you need a car seat. And she pulls a car seat from the back and, hands it to me. And she said, for liability reasons, I'm not allowed to install it. You have to install it yourself. Okay. So if you're booking private transportation, do your research, but most of them come with people who are certified to properly install car seats, which is a huge plus for booking private. If you can afford it, go with that. I'm going to tell you right now, go with that. So that's fine. Thankfully, I do know how to properly install a car seat, and it was a Graco Forever seat, which is the one that we use at home with both of our kids. So I'm familiar with it. So I was able to install it myself, pull. It didn't have anchors on it. So car seats come with, you know, the anchors that you anchor into, the little seat anchors at the bottom of the seat. Didn't have them on there. It was just car seat, no anchors. That's fine. I know how to thread the seatbelt through and pull the seatbelt all the way out and let it go back in and put my knee on the car seat and put it in as much as I can to fully tighten it so the car seat doesn't go anywhere. Got man cub in, it's a Graco Forever, so it has the little handle that you pull up to adjust like the shoulder straps. Got the shoulder straps where they needed to be, got him buckled in, got the chest clip up, we're good to go. She takes us to the airport. No issues after that. She was very kind and courteous, I will say. She was a much better customer service person. So that's my last experience with Mears Connect. I am traveling again in November with my daughter Weezer, who is 4 years old, also required to be in a car seat. I was debating with hubby. I was like, do I look at booking a Do I look at booking private transportation? Like, I don't want to spend the money on that. And he was like, no, book Mears Connect. If they do the same thing and they send a transit van, tell them to send another. You need a car seat. And hopefully they'll be as accommodating as they were this last trip and send another car seat if that were to happen again. I will say we're traveling like kind of peak travel times, so odds are we're going to get a charter bus and it's going to be fine. But I guess that comes to my, will I use Mears Connect in the future? And as of right now, the answer is yes, because number one, they're just the cheapest. Number two, they are reliable. They do show up when they say they're going to show up, and they are at the airport waiting pretty much most of the time. So they get you to your resort in a timely fashion. So yes, I'll use them again. Am I happy about it? Not my favorite, but you know, they get the job done. So I guess long and short answer is, number one, be prepared to fight for your child. If they show up in a transit van and they don't have a car seat, be prepared to stand your ground and say, no, I need a car seat. Either send another shuttle bus or send another van with a car seat or something. Because personally, and hubby, like I said, I immediately called him on the phone. He's in full agreement with me. It is not worth potentially risking our child's life if we were to get in an accident out of inconveniencing someone or dealing with someone that's grumpy, because we're inconveniencing them, making them send another van with a car seat in it. Because especially man cub is tiny. He's 5 years old and he's tall for his age. He's about 45 inches, but he's only 43 pounds. Like, he does not fit properly in a regular seatbelt. Like, it's going to be up here on him, and he's skinny. Like, we get in an accident on a highway and it's about a 45-minute trip to the airport. So if we're in an accident on the highway, odds are he's going to be ejected from the vehicle if he's not properly restrained. That's not worth it to me. So just let that be known. Be prepared to ask for a car seat. If they don't have one, to send another transportation. I can't guarantee they're going to be as accommodating as they were for me, but I would like to hope that they will be. So all in all, Mears isn't my favorite, but I will book them again. Hopefully this was helpful and kind of gearing you if you were like, absolutely not now, I want private transportation, or you're like, okay, I'll deal with Mears. Hopefully they send a charter bus. And if they don't, I know to stand my ground and say I need a car seat. So hopefully this video was helpful. Please make sure you give this video a thumbs up, hit that notification bell, and follow along for more Disney content and also just traveling with little ones in general. Bye guys, thank you.